Okay, so I'm doing one of the standard missions that are provided in Sea Power. It's quite a good mission actually, in the sense that it's heavily based in kind of the littoral geography does come into play as a factor in how the mission plans out. Um, the tactical situation basically involves um, stopping a Soviet landing force that's heading towards Tromsø. Now, your forces that you're engaged with to use are the Narvik, the Ager, Stavanger, Gorma, Skarv, a couple of patrol boats, and two submarines. So it's not the strongest force. So we'll just get straight into it. Um, it's fair to say that the Soviet forces are probably more powerful, but they're also defending resupply ships. They're on a mission that, in many ways, makes it more difficult for them to succeed. So we'll have a look at our own forces to begin with. This is the P995, which is quite a capable little vessel. So let's just get the big picture stuff out of the way. So we have a couple of submarines basically deployed along the expected axis of the Soviet landing force. They're Kobin class, which are a variation of the Type 205 that the Germans used to have. So they're quite silent. They're not particularly they're not they're effective in this type of scenario, kind of near shore, short range type situation. So they're both arrayed there. They're following in the wake of civilian ships to kind of disguise them a little bit, which is useful. I have three main elements to the force. We have the primary element here, which packs the Narvik, which is a corvette, reasonably capable, has a little bit of anti-air capability, not very advanced. It's not too bad against anti-submarines, and it has the AGM-119's anti-ship, which are, you know, they're okay for what they are. So we have two of them, and then we have this older class, which is the Schliepner class corvette. Very much guns and mortars only, so it's quite outdated, but again can be useful. We have two mine warfare, mine clearance ships. Sorry, one, I stand corrected, and a patrol boat. So as they come around that headland there, they're going to become fairly exposed. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to bring them into play just yet, so I'm going to just drop their speed off. We have two patrol boats here that are proceeding forward toward the contact. Now, again, they have an array of missiles and torpedoes, which is handy, so I'm going to let them continue to progress to their location there. And then we have two further forward patrol boats, which I'm going to utilize as needed. Back here, we have a pair of F4 Phantoms. Got some dumb bombs and fuel tanks, so they've got a lot of lighter time. I'm going to deploy them up into the AO with a view to being ready to bomb. I'm not going to use them anti-shipping initially. I think they'll just be too vulnerable to whatever missile systems. And strangely enough, the Augusta is a US 688 attack sub, very much out of the AO and can't bring anything to the fight, so I'll let her continue to patrol there, and you know, realistically she wouldn't get to here in any reasonable time, so I'll just leave her out of the battle. So I'm going to move time on a little bit.
Contact faded. Track 700.
I'm going to keep these boats this side of the headland just for now. I don't want them exposed too much. And actually, I'm going to hold these as well. It's going to stop all my fleet because the presumption if they're heading to Tromsø is that the enemy fleet, which is coming down this coast, is going to present itself at some point. Now, I would be tempted here, given the depth, to throw up the ESM mast. And this is a passive surveillance capability. It'll detect any radar emissions and so on in the area. So it's often wise to throw that up if you're not too close to an enemy position. So I've thrown that up now, and it's going to be hopefully picking up information. I'm going to throw this one up here as well. And yeah, their ESM masts are up, and hopefully we'll start getting some information. Let's spin this on time-wise. Okay, so we've detected a helicopter. Don't have too much details on that for now. I'm going to chance the periscope here. We might get a visual on that ship that we're following. Okay, so that is a merchant. That's fair enough. So we need to be careful of that. I'm going to do the same up here just to get confirmation that that merchant is what I expect it to be. Okay, so that's a pretty decent sized ship. And they're making under 9 knots. We're going at 4, so that's quite a big difference. But again, the noise emitted from them might provide some screening element. There's a noise here. I'm going to turn on the surface search radar here momentarily. See what I pick up. Okay, I might get the aircraft to do a flyby of those to see what I can detect. Yeah, so I'm going to get these guys to proceed out again. Flank speed. I'm going to get these guys back up to flank speed again. Okay, so there's seems to be helicopter elements out and about. And it's unfortunately I don't have a whole lot of anti-air capability, so we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm going to start moving these out at standard speed for now, as we continue to build a picture here of what's going on. I am tempted to get the Phantoms to take a run at those choppers with guns to hold on to their ordnance, but just take a gun run at them. But I think they'll drop their tanks if that's the case. Yeah, so these are the F4E with the gun. Yeah, that's fine. That gives us some options in terms of anti-air. I don't want to get too near that Russian group though too early, because these US Phantoms won't last in that context. Now I'm going to cheekily use my radar here. I think in reality I wouldn't, but I think it's not going to be too... Because I need to start pinning down those ship locations. That's a noise detection, so that isn't picked up by the radar. So, okay, I'm going to just turn the radar off now again.
Lower the radar mast. Contact faded. Track 7006. Contact faded. Track 7007.
Yeah, I'm going to vector in those F4s to have a pop at some of those helicopters, but the fact that there's a noise source so reasonably close doesn't bode well. I've got these guys back up at flank speed, and I'm going to keep them with their radar off for now. The missiles that have decent enough range, like probably 30 or so kilometers, I think. Let me just double check that now. Okay, 20 nautical miles. It's not terrible. These are quite capable little boats. So we're going to keep pushing them forward. But again, I can't fire until I've identified some of these tracks, even though I strongly suspect it's the Soviet group, given the fact that there seems to be a number of civilian boats and ships in the area. We won't be firing until we've confirmed targets. So again, I'm going to accelerate time a little bit here. You know, this helicopter is definitely getting to the point where it's going to be coming into contact with us here. So they might have us on radar at the moment, but we're not emitting, so if they have, it'll be from their own radar emission. I'm hoping that we just get close enough and we just bounce them with the 40 mils. Just catch them on the hop. Yeah, so we seem to be closing on each other here at a nice rate of knots, so the 40 mil gun on this should be well able to deal with a helicopter, especially if somewhat surprised. These other boats are coming out as well. So this whole operation is going to be done in phases. I'm going to fire the missiles and possibly torpedoes from this group into the main body and do as much damage and disruption as I can while peeling back. I will then hopefully coordinate a second attack with the second pair of patrol boats and or the submarines as necessary, with the final stopping force being the main element here, which will come out and slug it out with whatever's remaining. Hopefully I will use the F4s to knock out whatever ships I can't knock out with anything else. I'm not optimistic about them against anti-air missiles from some of the ships, so I won't use them until I know what ships they are, and I can to some extent beat the defense by basically coming in fast and low. So we're about to be within weapons range of this helicopter now. I would say the vast majority, or the high likelihood, is that that's an enemy, given its location and situation. But we haven't confirmed it yet, so I might just wait for these guys to get a visual ID on it. We're down to like 1 kilometer, so it probably should be something that they can engage very soon. So an EM emission is probably a radar, it's probably the ESM from this detecting it. I would have thought at this point now we would have been well within visual range, but it's pretty dull lighting and the weather isn't great. There is a bit of rain and so on, so okay, we're beginning to pick up surface tracks. We're now well within the kill zone here. Look, I'm going to chance it. Okay, we got him. Okay, that's her going down in the background. And it was a Ka-25, so that's definitely a Russian military helicopter. So we're going to continue to see what these tracks turn out to be as we push into them. So that's a radar return. That's a noise And radar and radar. Okay, interesting. Now we also had a helicopter that was proceeding out over these islands that we've lost track on. So I'm going to split this pair of F4s. I'm going to get one to go down and do a bit of reconnaissance for me. I want to check out these tracks. I'm sure they're only fishing vessels or something. I doubt there'd be an enemy, but let's just see. No, I'm not going to get too close because they obviously have surface-to-air missiles on these ships, and I'm not sure what we're dealing with, so I don't want to push it too much. So he's up at 10,000 feet. I'm going to drop him down to 1,000. Let's see how things progress. Okay, I mean that has to be the enemy fleet. It aligns with our intelligence and expected times, but again we won't presume too much. So our F4 is going to check these guys out, so we're going to come down and check them then, and here. I'm going to take the periscopes and ESM masts down for now. I think they've done what they need to do. They're going to wait more or less in ambush position for these vessels here. I always wonder about this thing here. Is it a glitch on the model or is it an actual thing? I always keep meaning to find out. I'm gonna check that out. Okay, he's down at 1,000 feet. We're gonna get him, drop him to cruise speed, and we'll bring him down to 200. I want him low, making use of the terrain as much as he can. And this guy's a little bit higher, but we'll continue to wait. So all of these were being detected by the radar from these guys. So these guys now we're going to bring them up to flank speed. Ahead flank. That's I don't believe in suicide missions, so these guys are going to fire at a reasonable range to survive. Their torpedoes are shorter range than their missiles. So I might stall till I get into torpedo range and fire them and see what happens. Okay, this guy's really moving here, so I'm going to speed down a bit to lighter speed. I don't believe these are enemies, so the weather's murky and whatnot, so we can continue to take advantage of that as much as we can. I'm expecting these are just fishing vessels or something fairly innocuous. This little flotilla is continuing to sally out. Now part of me thinks a high speed 200-foot dash into these drop the dumb bombs could succeed, especially if it came as the opening kind of move in an attack. The expectation wouldn't be as high, and they'd only really be able to target them when they got to the horizon, given the speed and height they'd be coming in. So there could be some chance of success, but it just seems a very risky proposition for the... Okay, we still haven't got eyes on that. Okay, fishing boat, that's fine. At least we've classified the track, that'll do us. And we're going to push it up there then. Okay, these guys now, I'm just going to give them an order to head that way. ahead flank. And let's push on. Now it's going to be relatively obvious to any radar operator that if a small target is proceeding at 30 knots in what would appear to be a formation, okay, so that's a trawler. Okay, it's interestingly enough a Soviet trawler. I'm going to presume, if it's been classified as friendly, that it is. And I'll take that at face value for now. This fishing boat is Norwegian. Okay, I mean, is it? There seems to be an awful lot of telecommunications information there. It is Soviet. It is civilian. But equally, it would be consistent with well, would it be so obvious and have a Soviet flag if they were on a mission like that? Maybe they would. I'm tempted to sink it. No, it doesn't seem to be emitting anything, and it wasn't really transmitting a whole lot, but it certainly looks like it's got the capacity to transmit. There seems to be more communications on that vessel than is necessary for what would be a communications vessel, or a fishing vessel. So I might get the F4 to loop around and take it out. We will see. So these guys are banging on at 31 knots. And these guys are bringing up the flank speed as well. So once I get the VID on this track, I'm going to commence my run-in with these two torpedo boats. Missile boats with everybody. I don't know, are these two 4 vessels, are they some sort of a vanguard? Are they scouts? I just don't know, is the reality. Now, when I turn my radar on, there's a good chance that that's me giving the game away. Okay, we have pretty substantial merchantman there. That's fine. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get down low, and I'm gonna try VID some of these tracks. Yeah, look, they're identified as civilian. I'll treat them as such. So this Phantom is on the deck. Got quite a lot of ordnance there, would be more than enough to take out even a substantial vessel if needs be, but again, not the greatest capability of penetrating an anti-air system. So let's move this on a little bit. So there seems to be small boats. Again, most likely fishing vessels. Oh. Okay, I'm going to bang this out as hostile air for certain. Get him at your 40mm. .40mm is quite an effective weapon, I have to say. Okay, he's got... What is got? It's another K-25. Okay, so we're clearly... They've lost 2 helicopters in this vicinity now, so they must surely be aware that there's hostile forces about. So I'm going to accelerate time a little bit again. Okay, we have a SAM launch on that. Chaff. Okay, we're gonna just get the fuck out of here. Oh, he's nearly gone. Okay, he survived. Very lucky to have done so. So they do have a pretty decent SAM presence there. So I'm gonna put an engagement range roughly of about there. So 20 nautical miles is roughly what he got engaged at. Now, he was quite low, so at 200 feet, that doesn't mean that that's by any means the extent of their surface to air capability. It's just the fact that he was so low would have challenged them a little bit. So this guy here may well be within anti-air range, but we'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the aircraft back for now, and we're going to proceed with our attack boats here and just see how we get on for now. I'm very tempted to push in this direction and see what we can identify. Okay, noise detected. They're Soviet, so I'm going to fire 4 missiles at that. Okay, missiles away. So I'm not even sure what I'm engaging here. Okay, I think it's just time to get the radars on. Let's start getting information about these targets. Okay, we got a hit on one of them there anyway, that's good. This missile's rocketing in. These penguin missiles aren't great. They're not terrible either. Okay, this guy's being hurt, so we still don't know what we're firing at. We're already pounding the crap out of him, which is fine. Okay, we haven't had much joy with the top guy, so we're going to fire another 2. So we sunk. Okay, it's a Grisha little corvette there. Quite a handy little vehicle, so that's not a bad opening. I've taken out a reasonably capable corvette, and certainly put. Okay, I'm not going to fire another missile on the basis that this has definitely been hit at least once, if not twice. And I don't want to over-expend weapons on him. No, this guy is... Okay. Okay. It's a fairly substantial vessel, so what I might do is within torpedo range. Let's just finish him with torpedoes. A little bit slow, but I want to keep the missiles. Krivak. Okay, he looks very heavily damaged. Quite a lot of firepower up front there in terms of missiles, so let's... Now we're well within range, so he would be firing if he could be firing, I would suggest. what this guy's going to do is he's going to turn off his radar,
Secure the surface search.
and we're going to push in towards these fishing vessels and go flank.
Maneuvering eye.
And I'm going to proceed east with this guy and bring him back up to flank speed.
007.
So hopefully this torpedo will be all that's needed to finish him off. As I said, he looks heavily damaged, and if he had either sensors or weapons that could be brought to bear on us, we would be dealing with it now. So he's in a far worse position than I think we'd give him credit for. Now this could be the type of thing that would make a good target for the F4s, because it would appear he doesn't have any real ability to defend himself. So we're going to see how the torpedo run goes. It's you know, we have further waves to this attack coming in, so we don't need to dwell on it all day long either. Accelerating time here now to see what the outcome of that torpedo strike is, if she goes down before that even, potentially. Okay, so the torpedo's fairly close at this point. We can accelerate time further again.
Contact faded. Track 7028.
Ah, I think... Okay, I think these are more or less dumb-firing torpedoes. And his speed at the point of fire was obviously greater than his speed now. So that's going to miss.
Contact faded.
That's good to know.
7028.
Okay, he does have his sonar on. Yeah, I'm going to assign that to the F4. The F4 is going to come in and hit him with what he's got, if he's not destroyed before then. You can see the outer hull damage there represents internal fires, so I would suspect the ship is essentially going down one way or the other. But I need to put it to bed, as it's very much screening the rest of these guys, and I don't want it to get systems back online a couple of minutes after I move on from it, because it'll end up getting easy kills. So that torpedo missed. Oh no, I am wrong. The torpedo does have a homing capability. So maybe the torpedo... I'm not sure. Is it searching? Is it active?
Contact faded. Track 7010.
Doesn't seem to be.
Contact faded. Track 7003. New surface contact detected. New surface contact detected. New surface.
He's quite close there. I mean, it wouldn't take much to get him.
Contact detected.
Hopefully it'll fix course now once it lines up with him here. No. No. It's close, but I don't think it's detected him per se. So the F4 is coming in fast. Okay, we have another surface there missile, so we're aborting that attack. Okay, so the long and the short is I won't be using air against that group for a while yet. Now it just so happens the Krivik sank of its own accord anyway, so that's okay. I do have a torpedo still in the water here, so I need to be conscious of that. No, I think it's fair to go back and accelerate things a bit. Okay, the F4 was actually shot down. It's very disappointing, with no benefit at all. My fault. I shouldn't have used it so unnecessarily. So we're going to continue to push these torpedo boats forward. I hope these turn out to be nothing more than fishing boats. Okay, yeah, they seem to be identifying as fishing boats anyway. No. These guys are well within my radar range, so I think I'm going to engage these.
Engage track 7028. Hold. Engage track 7032. Fire. Bulldog away. Track 7032. Engage track 7028. Bulldog away. Track
Okay, that's their missiles out.
7028. Surface search on. Radar eye.
I'm going to do a quick radar scan.
Radar eye.
Okay, it appears to have been spoofed. Okay, so the missiles seem to have retargeted. That's a hit. This guy missed his first target, but we acquired someone. Clearly an enemy, which is good. Got a hit on that, which is good. So those 4 missiles have found targets. Now this guy seems to have ballooned up high. He's up at 600 feet. And he missed the target I gave him, but he might reacquire. Yeah, he's acquired that big target that we hit the last time, which is good. Okay, he's been shot down, which is it's not terrible.
Turn to course 152. Hell my.
Okay, it's a fishing boat and a trawler, that's fine. I'm going to drop our radar again.
Turn to course.
We're going to push in at flank speed and try to get these torpedoes off.
Turn to course 0. Ahead flank. Maneuvering eye.
So we have a total of 3. Actually, do you know what? We're going to fire the torpedoes from here.
Engage track 7030. Whip it away. Track
Okay, that's fine. That'll do me. This guy's going to return away.
61.
And this guy is going to fire a single shot at him.
7028. Whip it away. Track
And I'm going to throw a single shot at him. The reason I'm firing at the lead vessels is if I do miss them, the subsequent and follow-on vessels are still going to move across those potential areas, so there's a reasonably decent chance of a secondary target being hit.
270.
Okay, these guys are going to pull back, because all they're really packing now is 20 mil and 40 mil and noisemakers, so that's not a whole lot of advantage. I might drop a few noisemakers for the simple reason it just adds to the confusion. I'm surprised I got them in and out without even being engaged. But that's good to see. And the night that I lost that F4, that 2 crew, so just I might come across them over here when we come there, but I have a feeling that will be them done for. Again, this F4, I'm just holding them back for when I have an isolated ship, or maybe all that's left is a heavy transport or something. I might be able to punch a hole in it with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed turned up again. to see what our torpedoes track like. Now, I'm lacking a lot of fine detail about these units here, but we know from the fact that they fired back at us that it is the enemy fleet, and again it's consistent with the intelligence we've been given, so I don't think we have to worry too much about it being civilian. These guys are next to the party, and I'm going to bring these guys up to flank speed. I'm going to detach. I'm going to detach the minesweeper. There's just no value in bringing them to the battle.
Turn to course 087. Hell mine. Turn to course 086. Hell mine.
Now, if it's a thing that we find out that we subsequently need him, that's fair enough.
Turn to course 08. Turn to course 097. Hell mine. Turn to course 0. Turn to course 06.
Now, this should allow the remainder of this group to move a lot quicker as well, because I would take it that he was the slowest vessel in that little unit.
Contact faded. Track 703.
Yeah, that's fine. He's doing what he needs to do there. Yep. We'll get him out of the way. So our next two attack vessels are these two. And let's just see what damage we do with these torpedoes before our next missile run. Now, it's to be expected that the next time our patrol boats come forward that they may come under fire, because they're not going to be under any illusions about the direction of our potential attack or anything like that. There will be no second guessing. They should just be able to look at the radar and just make an educated guess of who we are. So I can see there the ships seem to be taking evasive maneuvers. This wouldn't be the greatest of torpedoes, but this guy is, they're firing ASW mortars, which is fine. I have seen them take out torpedoes, but it's not very effective. But at least they're trying, which is good. So we're near this ship. You'd hope. Oh, we're sinking. Oh wow. So we just lost a motorboat there. I don't know what hit it. Probably a missile. No information on that. I'm just going to check the logs to see was there any call-outs before the hit. An SN3 or an SAN3. So surface air missile. So his radar was off. That's actually okay. That's interesting. Very interesting. So it was a surface air missile. Okay, those torpedoes, while causing havoc, are not very effective. Okay, I'm going to bring this guy to here to see if there's any crew to be picked up. Okay, there is a crew surviving. It isn't necessary in the game to do this, but I just think if you, in real life, if this had occurred, you would absolutely try to rescue the crew. I mean, outside of the fact that there's a naval battle going on, you know, it's cold, it's freezing waters, those guys aren't going to last long, so generally what I do is I go get to the point where the crew are and hold for like a solid minute, and pull out then at that, and I consider that the crew or whoever was left as surviving. Okay, well, do you know what? I'm going to just designate these hostile for now, even though I've lost some of the track information on them. Do you know what? I'm going to get my ESM up because I'm pretty sure they've got their radars on at this point because they wouldn't be able to engage the aircraft otherwise. So you can actually see the smoke. So they're not too far apart, but I mean, okay, that's gone. That's gone below the surface now. So I think that the reality is, if you were a crew member aboard that boat, I think you'd be right to expect some. I'm gonna put a half-mile marker on that. These guys are still moving at flank speed. Just gonna check the missile ranges, maybe. Yeah. We probably don't need to go in as close next time. Probably fire at the extent of our range might be the wiser thing to do, rather than closing. Now the only challenge is that one of these boats was sank at the point that we're now bringing this boat, so whatever detection method they have is probably going to present some level of a problem. But I think a small fast boat like this, it would be a reasonable expectation that they'd render assistance like this to each other. Unless it was 100% obvious that doing so would lead you to be destroyed. I don't think it would. I think in this case, I think we have a reasonable expectation that we can get in, get the crew and get out without too much hassle. Okay, they're detected. And drop our speed down. Okay. There's only one raft, and I'd actually like if they got to the point where they could model a little bit more the crew details and stuff like that, you know, particularly for the campaign, whereas if you lost a ship but saved most of its crew, there's obviously huge benefits in the real world to that. That's on the bottom already, completely wrecked. That said, it was itself quite effective. I've lost eyes on that life raft. That life raft is gone. Okay. No, I can't see it anywhere. Okay, so I think we can say we had a few sailors clamber aboard and get picked up, and I honestly can't see any more rafts. I think this boat's free to proceed out of the danger zone.
Turn to course. 2-4. Ahead flank. Maneuvering eye.
Okay. That is done.
New surface. Contact detected. Track. Contact faded. Track 7.
So our ESM information is proving useful here.
7.
Okay, alligators. They're basically troop landing ships. Okay, we've hit this guy. He's down at the bow by the looks of it. Okay, he's a little bit down on the bow.
New surface contact
He's had some fires on board. So they've obviously been hit and, in fairness, fairly heavily damaged. And we've no information on anyone else at the moment. Do you know what? I'm going to proceed closer because I want to get the torpedoes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a slightly more direct route.
074. Hell mine.
Now the danger is we just get absolutely cleaned out of it by an enemy missile without realising. So I don't want to leave it too late. Okay, there's a Cresta there. Okay, we're beginning to pick up real details now. She doesn't appear to be hit at all. Okay, that's a definite threat vessel. All her radars are on and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with
Engaging track
2 missiles
028. Salvo fire. Engage
and
track.
2 missiles.
Bulldog away. Track 7028.
And hopefully the fact that there's 4 missiles heading into her will overload her a little bit and and the missiles will get through.
Bulldog away. Track 7028. Engage track 7028. Bulldog away. Track.
Okay, so we have a good number of missiles heading their way now. And we have 2 and 2 left. Do you know what? I'm not worried with the alligator, but I am more concerned about these other vessels because there's a greater than not chance that they are packing.
7039 is classified. Engaging track 7039.
Yeah, the alligator can be dealt with by the subs if it comes to it.
Track
I'm just going to pump a few missiles into these other tracks on the basis that they realistically have to be enemy ships.
Engage track 7039. Bulldog away. Track 7039.
Okay, the Cresta. Looks like surface to air missiles, probably an attempt to hit these guys. Okay, between Seaways, medium caliber guns, and anti-air missiles, this is going to be a tricky enough one. She's looking good. Okay, in fairness, she did well.
Hit track 7028.
That got through. That did a bit of damage. And we have a second one, I believe, inbound. Okay, wow. Both got through. That's good to see. She's pretty damaged now. We got a third inbound. Okay, she's well aflame. But you know what? These aren't the heaviest of missiles, so a third or fourth gun in wouldn't be anyway disadvantageous.
7028.
Okay, she got quite a beating there now. Attempting to hit her again. Okay, so we have another transport ship here. Again, not that dangerous to us. Don't know what that is. With the alligator and this heavy transport. Do you know what? That sounds like a target for the F4 when the time is right. Okay, so this ship here that we've targeted is clearly some sort of a combatant. It's firing missiles. So let's just hit it and see what we do. Okay, I think that fell short, possibly. These AGM-119s are actually decent. They're, you know, reasonably short range, but... Okay, both of them fell short. I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, I think we should probably take the opportunity to finish this Cresta. Just in case she decides to absolutely go nuts on us.
Engaging track 70. Contact faded. Track 70. Hold out of the way. Track 7028. Engaging track 7032. Bulldog away. Track 702.
Okay, so both of them were fired at the Cresta. Now I think in retrospect one might have been sufficient, but yeah, there's internal fires breaking out there. I think it's fair to say that that ship is in serious trouble, although she's not taking... She's a tiny bit down on the bow, but nothing too significant. But you just don't know with these guys. I mean, his sonar's on, rudder seems stuck, and his engines aren't running. So it's probably dead in the water, but we'll see. We'll see. Now, none of these are carrying missiles anymore, so we really do have to close if we're going to fire our torpedoes.
Turn to course
Get these back up to flank speed.
flag. Maneuvering aye.
That's the threat vehicle there, we'll see.
Turn to course
I'm going to bring this guy back. 40 mil isn't going to change the world, but it's going to be an extra target if we need to draw fire. They don't know it's... Okay, so that's actually missed. It's gone for the chaff and is reacquiring a target beyond it, which is probably no harm because I didn't want to use all the weapons on the Cresta. So this guy is going to soak up a fairly decent hit to the bow. Okay, nice. That's surely the end of the Cresta. The Rogov has been hit pretty much square in the bow, and it obviously penetrated in. They're actually reasonably well defended with their, well, in terms of their guns. The gun systems on them would be a threat to the smaller vessels here for sure. So we've got this guy pushing on. Now, this group is beginning to make progress. So I'm going to accelerate time again. There was a secondary supply element coming back, so I don't know what way that's a raid at the moment. I'm tempted, I'm very tempted to send the F4 in against that. Do you know what, I will, because that's a substantial supply ship. Very much any landing that doesn't have this with it is hugely disadvantaged. So even if the F4 is lost, it's a very, very acceptable trade-off. Now we know this ship here to the northwest has at least some form of missile capability. I know that the Alligator doesn't. We're going to sink this guy with torpedoes comfortably enough, I would imagine. So we're going to accelerate time a bit. We're going to keep an eye on the F4 here and see how he does. I hope this isn't premature and for long, but... So what's his altitude? 10,000 feet. I'm going to drop him to 1,000 feet.
1, 0, 0, 0.
What the hell with 200 feet?
Altitude 2, 0, 0. Multiple surface contacts detected.
Oh, hold it. Okay, someone's tracking us on radar now. We're going to abort that for now. Yeah, we're just going to abort that now. There's clearly other ships that we're not aware of out here.
Contact faded. Track
I'm going to use my radar on this guy now.
search on. Radar eye. Multiple surface contacts detected.
Okay, this F4, I'm going to just check because I can't see any missiles. It doesn't mean there isn't any coming in. Sort of notched the missile a little bit as well, I think. Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. There you go. Yep, there you go. Very poor on my part.
Faded. Track 7, 0, 4, 2.
So both those F4s proved to be ill-suited to the mission we gave them. Again, my fault. Either I should have just pushed on and came in low and fast and just accepted there was going to be a lot of risk. But it's fair to say that the Russian fleet would have been, on paper, much more capable than the fleet attacking it, but it just goes to show that if you use terrain, a surprise, a little bit of concealment, you know, they can really level the playing pitch. There's quite a number of quality Russian ships already on the bottom, and they really shouldn't have been lost the way they were. Although on my part, losing the two F4s is very poor, very poor. So we're going to continue to press the attack with the torpedoes that we've left, and we're going to continue to reposition the main strike group and see how we progress. So I'm going to accelerate time.
Track 7, 0.
Okay, so we have a little bit more information. We have a Cresta.
Hostile warship.
Ooh, she's been hit. She's definitely struggling, but I'd say that's a torpedo hit. She looks very vulnerable to just succumbing to flooding. However, I would imagine most of her above deck weaponry is fine. Her radar is still operating. Okay, that's interesting. So it's a Cresta 2. The Alligator's been hit and is damaged, and the Rogev has been hit and been damaged, maybe not as significantly. The Kazbek, that's only a transport, so I know that there's something out here as well, and I believe something may have fired a missile from there, so I think we really need to keep pressing and seeing how far we can get.
Turn to course 0, 7, 6. Hell my. Turn to course 0, 9, 8. Hell my. Turn to course 0, 8, 5. Turn to course 0, 8, 3.
Okay, so we're gonna keep moving in with the motorboats. And I'm gonna detach them all at this point.
Turn to course 0, 7, 8. Hell my. Turn to course 0, 8, 0. Turn to course 0. Turn to course 0. Turn to course 0. Turn to course 0.
Okay.
7, 9. Hell my.
So the Cresta is the key, and if we can use the Merchant as concealment we might be able to get close. I can remove this marker here because we know that the crews have been saved. This air defense bubble moves forward as well. And we're just going to accelerate time.
Contact faded. Track 7037.
I don't want to fire torpedoes this side of the merchant because my fear would be that they'd simply go astray and hit him. So the distance to the Cresta, it's 6.7 nautical miles. So let's keep pushing.
Contact faded. Track 7041.
She is in trouble. And from the side I'm approaching, her guns may not even get to fire at us because they're so much to leaning to the starboard. They won't be able to get the depression on the main barrels. So I think now's the time to push.
Ahead flag. Maneuvering eye.
Now I'm going to see what the 40 mil range, 20 mil not. So we're going to keep pushing. Now here we go.
Turn to course. 0. Turn to course. 0.
So that's the crest and the distance.
How am I? New surface contact detected. Engaging track 7032.
Firing a torpedo at the alligator.
Away. Track 7032.
Give him a second one.
032. Whip it away. Track 70.
I'd normally fire torpedoes like this from the maximum range and turn, but I think there's a good possibility that if I've killed off all the combatants, I might have a fairly easy run, so I don't want to fire inaccurate shots. I've got 4 torpedoes now. I'm gonna fire one at the Cresta from here.
Engaging track 70.
And on the off chance, I'll fire 2.
Away. Track
I'll give it a few seconds, just on the off chance that they decide to open fire on me and get a one-shot kill, which is very possible in a small boat like this.
39. Whip it away. Track 7039.
So she's definitely in trouble. She's got 2 torpedoes inbound. So that's me out there.
Track 7045 is classified. Hostile warship.
It would seem that this guy is turning north, which isn't ideal.
You're hit.
Okay, I'm just going to fire the last 2 torpedoes on the off chance that I just get completely annihilated. Okay, we are definitely going to have to lose our weapons that are left. Oh wow, two direct hits. Okay, I got my torpedoes off. I got one off. Come on, get the next one. That 30mm is just cutting me to pieces. Damage control. So the alligator absorbed 2 full hits. Yeah, she's gonna go down for sure. I'm gonna try get this ship to the south of her. I've lost power, I think. Okay, she definitely absorbed another torpedo. And we got 2 more. Oh no, I stand corrected. The first 2 missed. So that's probably... that's 40mm fire that I'm hitting him with. God, these guys are brave. I am absolutely dead in the water here. Okay, about to fire my 40mm again. That's it. Always fight. Now unfortunately those torpedoes, while they're looping around, they don't seem to have gotten what I was looking for to kill. Now she's gone down. Excellent. Excellent. That's a significant kill. These poor guys are in serious trouble. There isn't anything I can do from. They're making way at about 5 knots, but that's really it. And they're being absolutely annihilated. I just need one of these torpedoes to track. Okay, she's gone down. The Cresta has gone. The abandoned ship. So it would seem that while I fired 4 torpedoes, now I can't account for one of them, so maybe one of them... Okay, one of them did hit him there, fair enough. So that final torpedo was all that he needed. Yeah, absolutely annihilated. At least this has... Let's check its damage control. Hull damage moderate, flooding slight. Probably gonna lose that boat, but we'll see. This guy's even worse off in the sense that he can't make any speed. So let's see what we can do. Engine power here. No, dead in the water. This guy took an absolute mountain of rounds into him. So if we can hopefully put out the fire, we might be able to limp back.
Turn to course 20.
Now, we fired these 2 torpedoes rather than actually lose the ship. Okay, I think we're abandoning ship here soon, are we? Okay, this is definitely looking progressively worse. This ship here now is going to open up with our 40mm, and we're just going to get their attention. We're going to continue to harass him. hopefully that forward gun was knocked out of action by the initial torpedo hit there a while back. I think that's their only... Oh yeah, those 30 mils, they're vicious. I don't want to get too close to them. Maybe this distance is fine. Okay. We absolutely want to avoid those. Oh wow, that is a lot more firepower than I was expecting. So the 30 mils, they're just accurate, huge amount of rounds coming downwind, and very hard to avoid. Once you get into their kill zone, a boat like this just won't get out. I mean, we're losing speed now, we're burning a wreck. We've only had a few seconds in their kill zone, and they're just absolutely taking us to pieces. So again, probably a bad decision on my part. So this guy's dead in the water, and well, we got a torpedo hit on this guy. Enough, it would seem, to... I think we might be able to sink him based on that. Oh, hit him again, Jesus. So he's hit a midship and 4. I doubt he's going to survive that. 2 massive holes below the waterline. No, I don't think that's recoverable. That being the case, the Rogov is the only ship from the initial wave that I can detect. Ah, I lost the Falk. Okay, what's left of the crew abandoned? I have nobody. Okay, I'm gonna...
Turn to course. 098. Hell my. Ahead flank. Maneuvering out.
I'm not too worried about anti-submarine activity at the moment. I mean, the Rogov isn't going to have any real capacity against the submarine, and the Ulsten will go here and pick up the crews as soon as it's safe to do so. And this last remaining ship is an Alligator, so that isn't particularly significant. Okay, he's dead in the water as well. And we have the main strike force is actually still only en route. So we've done well for the loss of 2 F4s and motor torpedo boat times 2. We've broken the force now. I suspect we'll lose this and the Rask. The Rap and the Rask, they'll succumb to their damage already. But we'll rescue whoever's left. So I'm going to speed up time.
We've been hit. We've been hit.
I suspect these guys are under fire. Whoa, what's he firing? Possibly like an Eagler or something. Where are those missiles going? Okay, he's firing missiles at us Probably anti-air missiles that actually fell slightly short and didn't do any real damage. Well, to be fair to them, they stayed at their posts. Absolutely mangled.
Engage track 7. We're hit.
So there's another missile incoming.
We're hit.
Okay. Seems to be wasting missiles on us. Ah, 40 mils inoperable.
7037. Salvo fire.
Okay, he is using his surface-to-air missiles. That's fair enough. No problem with that, if that's what he wants to do. And we're going to move this forward now because none of those units can do anything.
We're hit. Contact faded. Track. We've been hit.
Actually, I'm lucky that those torpedoes didn't accidentally hit that merchantman.
Flooding beyond control. Abandoning ship.
Okay, we have officially lost another boat. That'll be my rough search area when I get there.
Turn to course. 098. Hell my. Contact faded. Track. Contact faded. Track 700. We're hit.
Okay, they're absolutely mauling me. My god. Oh, gone. That is it. Gone. That's unfortunate, but again, can't say unexpected. Yeah. I'm pretty much pelting away at flank speed here. I'm gonna go periscope radar mast. No, we're well within range. Flank speed 17 knots, that's not...
Multiple surface contacts detected.
Okay, so I'm gonna...
Engaging track 7037. Salvo. Whip it away. Track 7037.
Let's see about the two torpedoes. We'll see how effective they are against the Rogov.
Contact faded. Track 7049.
These guys are
Ahead flank. Maneuvering eye.
at flank speed. "19 knots, one of them isn't particularly fast, I'd imagine. What I might do is if I detach... I think this may be limited in speed. Tons. Okay, max speed 20 knots, that's not... Formation... Leave formation... These go flank speed. I think they should have a much higher top speed. Okay, 25 knots. It's not a huge amount faster. Seeing as this guy is only really... guns. Okay, 76 mil is pretty effective. That wouldn't be at all useless. And it's dual 76, so that's not bad at all. ASW torpedoes ASW mortar, so it's really sort of ASW configured really, isn't it? No active sonar.
Transmitted active sonar. Sonar eye. Turn to course. 0, 3, 4. Hell my.
Get these guys up to flank speed and we'll
Flag.
speed time up and get
Maneuvering eye.
in. I'm going to keep this guy at 17 knots because I want to rescue as much of the crew as I can. Now I'd say in reality you wouldn't risk a submarine in a circumstance like this to save a crew.
Ahead standard. Maneuvering eye.
Okay, I can use the snorkeling mast at 8 knots.
New surface contact detected. Raise the snorkel.
Okay, I'm being very noisy and very subject to being picked up on radar, but this still probably the way to go. I'm surprised I've lost the track there, given how big a ship it is. I mean, the radar is still transmitting. Okay, in any eventuality, we're going to speed things up and move things on.
Track 7051.
Okay, he's back.
Surface contact detected. Track 7052 is classified. Hostile warship.
Just checking on the USS Augusta. Absolutely no benefit to me, but
Contact faded.
for some reason to put it in.
7050.
Okay, so these torpedoes seem to be running straight. About 2.5K to the target. I mean, it's a pretty big ship, but these torpedoes should be enough to destroy it. 2 of them, I'd expect in most cases, would be sufficient.
New surface contact detected.
Okay, here we go. So I can't see the ship because nobody has actual eyes on. We only have a radar echo. Okay, that's a hit, and the second one should hit as well. Okay, that's 2 hits. Excellent. Again, I don't know the level of damage done by those. So, part of me thinks one more is no harm.
Engage track 7052. Whip away. Track 7052.
Okay, 40 knots. Not the fastest torpedo, but they were effective enough there. Let's speed this up. Okay, the main force is coming as quick as they can, in fairness. Okay, she sank. She's gone down. I'd say probably because she took all her hits more or less head on. So she just obviously ended up going down by the bow. Well, that's excellent news. God, it's a big ship. I mean, that has to be the strike force broken. And we know there's at least one more transport back here. So I can very easily move things on.
Lower the contact faded. Contact faded.
So I'm going to really
7.
go to flank speed now to get to these
Contact faded.
sailors.
Contact faded. Track 7.
The blue outer line there represents the distance I can travel on my current speed underwater. It's a bit like range on aircraft. It indicates your kind of ability to travel submerged before you need to snorkel or else come to the surface. This torpedo is running straight. Actually, the target ship is just gone under. The possibility she might hit something. Potentially killing any sailors who abandon ship and are on the surface. It's possible she's going to clip some of the mast because the depth of water is sufficiently low that the bow has rested, so any buoyancy that's in the boat is now also supported by the bow resting on the surface. Okay. Oh wow! Detonated proximity. That's interesting. I probably killed a lot of the guys on the surface, I'd say. In real life, I'd imagine most of the guys in those lifeboats were just killed with the overpressure there. Maybe not. As I said, a big ship, but she's on the bottom. So let's move it on for the final phase now. I think this is a good example of how a substantially more capable force can be defeated. Again, they were fairly passive in how they acted. They probably didn't screen very well. You know, the lack of anti-submarine warfare helicopters went against them. Now, there was some helicopters out, but they didn't... they ended up being shot down really early by the PT boats, or the missile boats. It would actually be an interesting one to play this from the Russian side to see, I suppose, how you'd counter these types of threats. I'd actually say probably very easily. I would tend to just have my radars on and expect that you're the superior force, and as a result to ensure that you can see further with your radar and just, you know, run down tracks and identify them quicker and just pick them off as needed.
Turn to course 088 Helmi.
So we're nearly in position to rescue these sailors.
Contact faded. Track 7001.
So the weather's quite bad and it's quite dark out, so it's still fairly good conditions for a submarine to be skulking around in. So I'm going to surface the boat.
Make my depth. Dive eye.
Okay, so we're going to see now what if any survivors are around to be picked up. So if we track straight out, Is the submarine coming? No, there doesn't seem to be any survivors left. We will see. I'm running at 10 knots, I'll go ahead standard. Might stop a lot of the churning.
New surface contact detected.
Now, as I'm here, as they say, I might just fire 2 shots.
Whip it away.
Yeah, that must be a graphical glitch. It doesn't make any sense. It would absolutely destroy the boat's hydrodynamics. So, let's speed time up. Those torpedoes may be all that's needed to finish the scenario. Mark him as a hostile, you know he's hostile.
Turn to course 096. Hell my. Track 7055 is classified. Hostile warship. New surface contact detected.
Interesting.
Raise the radar. Up scope. New surface contact detected.
In a realistic scenario, you wouldn't in any way behave like this with the submarines. They would have very little interaction with the other surface units. We certainly wouldn't be running around on the surface doing this kind of stuff. Perhaps we would. So I'm going to give her an all stop.
I'll stop. Maneuvering eye.
I mean, that's effectively the location, so any survivors would be likely to be in this vicinity, so we'll give that a minute or two. I'm intrigued at this track, what it is. So I have my periscope out. It might be a civilian, I'm going to interrogate it.
Track 7056.
Oh, this ship is still alive.
Hostile warship.
Okay, we're going to just put 2 rounds into him.
Engage track 7056. Whip it away. Track 7056.
So that Kazbak has already taken 2. They won't survive a 3rd if they'll even survive that. And we're about to see these torpedoes hit. They're certainly running towards the target anyway, so that is the transport, the military transport, so this should be straight up a matter of just hitting it, and that's the end of that. Okay. Job done. Not without its cost. Perhaps more cost than I would have liked, but I would also say, given the order of battle on either side, it was more than a fair trade. For the loss of 2 F4s and 3 missile boats, small ones at that, we took out a fairly substantial Russian force. You know, in terms of its loss, in terms of manpower, equipment, the surface combatants, that would be quite a successful action by the Norwegians, which has to be commended. The mad method by which I'm operating these submarines aside, I think as well there reaches a point in battles where you know you're victorious, and you can maybe take a bit more liberty in terms of procedures and so on. The old expression though always remains true: when you're winning, risk nothing. But also when you're winning, you know, your risks are more for you to determine. So we'll put this final ship down and call it a day. Ooh, good hit. You can see the devastating power of torpedoes compared to other weapon systems. I mean, there's a good chance to break the back of the ship a lot of the time. She's done at that. That's absolutely done for. Two substantial hits on this side will leave her absolutely destroyed. I won't put any more ordnance into her. She's definitely going down. What is positive is, in spite of the complexity of the engagement, we didn't target any civilian ships mistakenly. Now the submarine can begin
Make my depth. 8, turn to course.
screening
0,
forward.
7, 6. Helm on. Lower the down scope. Turn to course. 0, 4, 1. Helm aye. Contact faded. Track. Ahead standard. Maneuvering aye.
Okay. Okay, so quick summary. The landing force and surface action group was as predicted where it was expected to be. We mismanaged the F4s and both got shot down without having any impact on the battle, which was unfortunate. All they really did was identify some fishing vessels. The missile boats were very effective. I would say I lost the missile boat Falk unnecessarily. I had removed it from the battle when it ran out of significant levels of ordnance, but I sent it back in potentially to draw fire, but that was silly and I shouldn't have done it in retrospect. I will say the other two torpedo boats, they were okay. They were lost in reasonable conditions. They were trying to push an attack with torpedoes, which they did successfully fire all their torpedoes. And in the case of the RAP, 3 to 4 torpedoes missed, but the one that hit did sink a ship. And in the case of the RASC, I think they were 4 for 400 torpedoes, so a good performance overall. So interesting scenario, shows the value of littoral operations, and I suppose you could even say asymmetrical forces there, in that the Soviets, you know, really had the dominant force. But yeah, good showing, and ironically didn't even bring our main strike force to bear, which is good. That would be 100% how I'd like it to go in real life, that you didn't even need to bring these in. They're still fresh, their magazines are fully stocked, and they can be retasked now as is needed. So good mission.